Hi, welcome back. So we've just started a topic on what we've called the big questions. It's one of our RE topics, and we're asking all the kind of big questions that you would ask in life. We're not trying to convert anybody in this topic. We're not saying you should follow a particular faith. What we are trying to do is get people to ask exciting questions. I think a lot of us have a default position that we've just landed on without necessarily questioning how we ended up there in the first place. And we might have a tendency to dismiss certain arguments, again, without really exploring them. So this topic's all about just getting us excited. It's about looking at how wonderful and exciting the world is, looking at some of the ideas around how that works, and making us think a bit. So this first lesson was on creation. Fun lesson. So much stuff in this lesson. So we looked at two real questions. Where did the world come from? Where did we come from? When we look at where the world came from, we look at the Big Bang and we say, well, that I think they've got it down to something like 1 trillionth of a second or something like that. The scientists can say, look, we know what happened from that point onwards, but we can't tell you what happened in that tiny little gap before then. A trillionth of a second into the world, great, we tell you what happened from there on in, but we can't tell you that little gap before. And we hit them with the facts are just staggering. The world went from, well, never mind the world, the universe went from nothing to every bit of space in the entire universe in a trillionth of a second. Not all the stars and galaxies and everything else, but the space. That space didn't even exist before, and that space appeared in the most insanely small amount of time. Boom, everything from nothing. And that's exciting. We look at space and what's in space. What is so exciting in space? So we look at how there's more stars in the universe than there are grains of sand on Earth. I mean, let that fact sink in. There's more stars in the sky, in the universe, than there are grains of sand on the Earth. That's insane. This is exciting. When we start to look at how exciting the world is, we then want to know more about it. We look at things like, from a religious perspective, we look at maybe the fine-tuning of the universe and say, well, there's all sorts of figures, and if any of them were just a few fractions out, the world wouldn't exist, or our life wouldn't exist at least. So is it just a series of coincidences? Is it because there are multiple universes out there? Or is it because there was a creator that turned all those dials to make sure that it was as precise as it was? We look at things like intelligent design. If I found a watch lying around on the ground and I saw the parts inside it, would I just assume that it had naturally fallen into existence? Or would I assume that there was a watchmaker that built it and put it together? We look at things like evolution. Widely accepted now amongst religious communities and secular communities that the majority of people will place themselves as saying, well, evolution is something that we can prove. But the question still says, well, was that a mechanism for creation? We look at inside ourselves, our DNA. 1/1000th of an inch, I think, is the size of a single cell, and yet within that cell there's about a metre of DNA. And within that metre of DNA, there's enough information for 30 encyclopedias. That's crazy. So what I'm trying to get them to do is be excited about us and who we are and how we're made, to get excited about the universe and how amazing that is and how it's made, and just start to dig away at the different ideas that are out there, both scientific and theological. And then finish up by saying, well, does there need to be science or faith? Can they comfortably coexist? And there's various quotes from all sorts of people, including the head of the Human Genome Project, who says, the more I look into this, the more I feel that there's a creator behind this. And so we're saying, do science and religion have to be at loggerheads, or can they coexist around this? I'm flicking through here now. There's way too much for me to talk to you about, and I'm already over time. But it was a fun lesson, just getting excited about the world, how it came to be, how we came to be, and what are the different ideas out there. Hopefully that was of some use. I'd love to tell you all the stuff that we did so you could talk more about it, but I haven't got the time. Thank you for listening, and I will speak to you all again next week.